Welcome to the Dig Into English podcast, episode 2. How's it going, everyone? This is Ben with the second episode of the Dig Into English podcast. Today, I'm going to talk about something that I absolutely love. I hope you enjoy it as well, because you're doing it right now. I'm going to talk about one of my favorite subjects, learning languages. Why are you learning English? Do you need it for your job or for your studies? Do you like watching American, British, or even Australian TV shows? There are lots of reasons why you could be studying English. Why not share your reason in a comment on the Dig Into English website? You can write a comment on this episode's page at www.digintoenglish.com/episode-2. I'm looking forward to reading your replies. For me, the best reason to learn a language is simple. You should learn it because you love it. You know you're on the right track when you don't want to stop studying because everything about the language excites you. To be on the right track means that you're doing something that is definitely going to lead to success. A teacher might say to a student trying to figure out a maths problem, "Keep up the good work. You're on the right track." Unfortunately, we don't often learn languages in exciting ways. Let me tell you what I mean by explaining my experience with learning languages. The first language I started learning, after English, was something a bit unusual for a kid in Australia. I started learning Japanese at school when I was 7 years old. The Australian government thought it would be beneficial for Australian children to learn an Asian language. Beneficial, that's BENEFICIAL, is another word for good or to someone's advantage. Because of that, all the students in my school had to learn Japanese. Actually, we just learnt how to use chopsticks and learnt a bit about Japan, but we spoke English all the time. After 5 years of classes, I couldn't say much more in Japanese than my name and the numbers from 1 to 10. The same happened in high school. I took 3 years of Japanese classes and 4 years of German, but they weren't very useful. Then I learnt French and Japanese at university. Unfortunately, it was the same old story. If something is the same old story, then a bad situation keeps happening again and again. Maybe you've had the same experience with learning languages at school or university. When you only have a few hours of class per week, then it's very difficult to improve. What really made a difference was finding things that I was interested in. I started getting very interested in Japanese writers, and I did everything I could to learn to read Japanese novels. At the beginning, they were difficult to read, of course, but I had a good reason to persevere. Persevere is spelt P-E-R-S-E-V-E-R-E, and it means to keep going even if something is hard. After lots of hard but enjoyable work, my Japanese improved quickly. I suddenly had a reason to study as much as I wanted. Soon, another thing happened. I discovered podcasts. I could use podcasts to listen to French news spoken slowly, so that learners of French, even bad ones like me, could understand. I used a podcast called Slow German when I wanted to improve my German so I could go to Austria for a holiday. Then, after becoming friends with a group of Koreans who were studying in Adelaide, I decided that I wanted to meet more Koreans. And of course, the best way to do this was to learn Korean. I started learning Korean all by myself. To do that, I used a podcast called Talk to Me in Korean. That's probably my favorite language learning website, so if any of you are learning Korean, I definitely encourage you to take a look. I enjoyed learning with these podcasts so much, in fact, that I felt like starting my own. That's why I created Dig Into English. I wanted to help people find entertaining listening material so that their English study can become more enjoyable and more effective. Podcasts allowed me to listen to people talking about things that I found interesting. This made learning languages much easier. I improved much more quickly listening to podcasts than I did by learning in a classroom. I hope that Dig Into English helps you as well. Before I go, I'm going to share a quotation with you that might give you some motivation. It's from Lom Kato. I apologize to any Hungarians who might be listening, but I have no idea how to pronounce that name. She was a Hungarian interpreter and translator who worked in 16 languages. An interpreter is someone who interprets from one spoken language to another. A translator, on the other hand, translates written language. If an English-speaking friend comes to your country, maybe you can act as an interpreter. If an English-speaking friend comes to your country, maybe you can act as an interpreter for them. Okay, here's what she said about learning languages. Language is the only thing worth knowing, even poorly. What she's saying here is that it doesn't matter how badly you speak a language. If you can communicate with someone who speaks that language, then you've achieved your goal. That means that you shouldn't worry, even if your pronunciation or grammar isn't perfect. And of course, she's exactly right. When I speak German, people think I'm French. When I speak French, people probably think that I have something stuck in my throat. That's not the important thing, though. Eventually, people can understand what I want to say. That's all I'm aiming for. I hope you agree with what she said. If you don't think you speak English well, don't worry. I'm sure that if you try to speak with someone, they will be able to understand you. If you can do that, you can enjoy the most wonderful benefit of language learning. You'll be able to communicate with people from other cultures and learn more about the world. What do you think? Are there some reasons I forgot to mention? If there are, let me know in a comment at digintoenglish.com. By leaving a comment, you can also share your experiences with other English learners. So, as always, I hope you're enjoying learning English, and I'll see you next time.